Going to begin this morning, of course, with our children's portion of the service. We're going to do that by bringing out a chart here, or a piece of paper. And if the children have a piece of paper at home, maybe they have a piece of paper and a pen that they can use, they can do this along with me. So maybe we'll just take a second. I'm going to read a story from the book of Revelation. And this is a story where the Lord is talking about the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven. And afterwards, John, who wrote the book of Revelation, was shown by an angel this wonderful city, the bride of the Lord. And there's an interesting thing in here that we're going to talk about using this blank piece of paper. So if a parent can maybe collect a piece of paper and a pen, that would be helpful. So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 21, and we're reading from verse 9. It says, "Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls filled with the 7 last plagues came to me and talked with me, saying, 'Come, I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife.' And he carried me away in the Spirit to a great and high mountain, and he showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. Her light was like a most precious stone, like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. Also, she had a great and high wall with 12 gates and 12 angels at the gates, and names written on them, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. 3 gates on the east, 3 gates on the north, and 3 gates on the south, and 3 gates on the west. Now the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and on them were the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he who talked with me had a gold reed to measure the city, and its gates, and its walls. The city is laid out as a square. Its length is as great as its breadth, and he measured the city with the reed. 12,000 furlongs its length, breadth, and height are equal. Then he measured its wall, 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of an angel." Amen. First of all, I'd like to think about the measurement of a man, it says. The measurement of a human, it says 144 cubits. Can you imagine? A cubit is the length from a person's elbow up to the tip of their finger. So if you think about 144 of those stacked up on top of each other, we're talking about a person that's over 200 feet tall. Have you ever seen a person 200 feet tall? So how is this the measure of a person? All right, we're going to bring out our pen here for a second, if you can. And we're going to think about the same word, one word that has 2 very different meanings. If I tell you the word ruler, what do you think of? What is a ruler? Now, for many of you children who are in school, you might think of a ruler just like this. And it has little marks on it for inches and for centimeters, and each one of these is generally 12 inches long. So this is a ruler. And what other kind of ruler might you think of? Maybe you can think of a ruler that would wear something that looks kind of like this. Maybe we'll put a little gem in that crown. So this is also a ruler, right? A ruler would wear a crown if he was the king, and they would call him a ruler. And they're spelled exactly the same. And actually, they mean the same thing. Do you know why a ruler or a king is called a ruler? Or why a ruler like this is called a ruler? They seem like very different things, don't they? Well, I want you to try something real quick. Just with your free hand, if you don't use a ruler, just try to draw a really straight line. How good did I do? It looks like it's a pretty straight line, right? Let's test to see how straight this line is. Oh no. That doesn't look very straight at all once I put a ruler next to it. It looks really crooked. Now imagine if we had to draw a line between where we're standing and heaven. And we had to do it just by our free hand. We had to do it just by ourselves. Do you think that we would draw a very straight line? We'd probably go really crooked. Sometimes we do nasty things. Sometimes we kind of try to do good things. And this is kind of like our crooked line. It gets kind of messy. Well, what if we did use a ruler? We can put a ruler right here on our board, and that can guide our mark to be completely straight. See how beautiful that straight line is? So what do you think this kind of a ruler who wears a crown is really supposed to be doing? This kind of a ruler that wears a crown is supposed to be keeping people living in a straight line, meaning living a life that leads us to heaven and leads us to the Lord. So let's go back to this thought about measuring this city, measuring the beautiful city, the New Jerusalem. And it says that the angel brought out a reed, which is kind of like a ruler, and measured the city. And it had, it says that the wall was 144 cubits. It's a pretty tall thing, 144 cubits, about 200 feet. And it says it's the measure of a man. Which is that also of an angel. So I think what the Lord is trying to tell us here is that when we try to live according to this straight line and we think of the Lord as our ruler, well, all of the ways that he guides us is just like the way a ruler, like a yardstick, guides us in a very straight line. Well, the Lord as our ruler gives us all of the wonderful commandments in his words and teaching in his word in the Bible. And all of these things are supposed to keep our lives going in a straight line in the direction of heaven. And so just like a ruler like this can help us draw a straight line on a piece of paper, the Lord's word acts like a ruler for our lives. And it keeps us on the straight and narrow, it says. So this is our lesson for this morning for the children, is to think about how the Lord as our ruler keeps us going in a straight line to live a life that is worthy or that measures just like the wall of that city, 144 cubits high, going in a straight line. It's the measure of a person, that is, of an angel. Amen. And now for a blessing on the children. The Lord give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. Amen.